All right, back live again. Apparently, I have some very unreliable power now from OG&E. So, been getting power bumps to the house for the last 30 minutes, and I guess I took one too many, and my UPSs couldn't handle it. So I gotta replace my UPSs because APC can't do the job. So I gotta find some other piece of equipment that will. So I'm a little agitated because that went right down during the middle of the tornado warning in the metro, which, of course, the first time it happened. Regardless, it is what it is. So we got to move on. I got everything back up and running. So let's continue where we left off. Okay, so the only tornado warning we have right now is here on the east side of the metro. Now that covers the area from Jones to Choctaw to Hara to McLeod, and then we've got the rest of the line that stretches down south from there through the Norman region. Now, the whole time, the main concern has been for damaging wind rather than just, for example, a tornado, because it's obviously a very large area that we're continuing to deal with here. We tracked winds on radar up until the time it crashed on me, up around 70 to 80 miles per hour, and just off the surface, even higher than that. We still look at wind speeds here around the Hara area. We still have these little pockets in pink where they go up around 60. There's 86. There's 100 miles per hour there. Coming into McLeod, then from south from there, still pockets of 60 to 70 to 80. We see all those little pink areas. Now, beyond that, the winds have calmed down here across the south, so not nearly as bad south of I-40 and 240. Speaking of which, this little spot here coming into the metro or to the radar site is up around 60 to 70, so it's the last little pocket here to come through, and that is coming up on, let's see here, let me turn this back on. All right, so that's Westminster and Stanley Draper, and let's see, bounded by Douglas. So that's pretty much where that last little pocket of wind is, just north of southeast 149th. Like I said, those winds are around 70 plus miles per hour. So right now, the strongest winds are going to be east of there. McLeod really is where that's at. This little packet here, I think we saw, close to 100 in a couple of frames. Is around 82, 85. So that would definitely be the strongest winds on the west side of McLeod and points to the north and west from that. Between 270 and Highway 102. Let's see here. This is also going to be on the north side of Kickapoo. Also 108.
Looks like significant power outages in Midwest City. It's completely dark here.
And 102 is just west of there. So that's where you have the strongest straight line winds left over. Back up here on the northern fringe of this, we do have some inbound winds in this area. There's no tight circulation couplets within that, at least on this particular radar view here from Twin Lakes, so it's not showing anything of that concern. The tornado warning, though, will continue. Storm moves northeast at about 52 miles per hour. And the wording on that, by the way, go ahead and read that as well. Well, we would be reading it. There you go. Come on, you can do it. All right, maybe you can't. We'll get off that one. Come over here. All right, so the leftover circulation center is to the north of Hara, and actually that's where the strongest winds are on the radar view. So here's a look at that warning information. So this came out 2 minutes ago. Tornado warning remains in effect until 12:15 for southwestern Lincoln, southeastern Oklahoma, and northwestern Pottawatomie counties. Severe squall line capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight line wind damage was located near Hara, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. Again, radar indicated rotation. So basically, we're talking about northeastern Oklahoma City, Choctaw, Hara, McLeod, Jones, and Neuwalla. Also, Interstate 40 between mile markers 170 and 171. So again, the main concern here is not necessarily these little small circulation areas, but the main fact that you've got wind speeds in excess of 70 miles per hour in a lot of areas, which is causing some widespread wind damage. So they're going to keep the tornado warning going, though, because they're going to look for these little couplets, which is almost like a QLCS type tornado that will spin on the northern end of this. So basically they kind of form and they rotate through on the north side, because you have a kind of a mid-level low pressure area within the storm, and they'll sometimes rotate in and on that region. So that's why this little zone here is kind of a favored area to look at in the velocity data. Let's see, let's update this one, and we'll look here. for any motion here. This is just a broad little circulation here, not even on the main edge, just back behind the rain. More favorite area probably in this zone, but I still don't see anything that stands out that's overly impressive. Just the winds themselves. Matter of fact, this little spot here is the strongest wind reading. And that actually, believe it or not, even has a little bit of a couplet look to it just because of the wind. So there might actually just be a little bit something here. It was on Captain Creek Pond Road at US 62. But otherwise, this big block here, this is all 80 plus mile per hour winds within that. So that's really what the main issue is for this area of the Warren storm. So this is going to run right along the highway. So it's going to be running along Route 62, paralleling it. Let's see, anything else down south from there to Dale? Still all these little pocket areas of wind up to Bethel Acres knocking on your door. Quite a bit lighter around the Pink area and Highway 9. So the strongest winds are now bounded Lake Road, Homer Lake Road, Walker Road, South Fish Market Road. That's a good spot of wind here. That's up around 60 to 70. Outside of that, again, you got these other leading edge with the strongest winds right here, east of Hera by about 5 miles. And then you have this little convergence area here for potential tornadic circulation there. If we look at the cross correlation coefficient, though, there is nothing that's picking up any type of debris. So it's not like it's a tornadic circulation that's doing damage, at least at this particular time. And we can go back here for the CC value, and I still don't see anything there. Here, when we had the strong winds, let's see, there was something there, but no, not really actually there either. Okay. So this is mostly just for damaging straight line winds. So that is a standard broad circulation area here that is very weak on the wind field as far as the circulation aspect. Still, mainly because it's a damaging wind, straight line type deal, as the winds transfer down from the mid levels of the storm to the lower levels in this area around what is basically a kind of a low pressure area, a mini low pressure area in the northern end of this little Linoco wave pattern. Kind of called a bookend vortex, really. These little areas here where they're kind of missing some of the data, it's where the algorithm's having a hard time trying to estimate the wind speeds because it's so chaotic in that little frame. Where this is going over right now is over a bunch of trees, and there are some little small communities in here as well. So this is what would be considered kind of like a mini tornado, just for the fact that it just has such a large area of damaging winds due to a circulation feature that's left over from earlier with this storm. Let's see here. Still don't see any debris signature that shows up on radar. So in other words, not like a tornado that would lift the debris aloft several thousand feet. So this is just a low-level straight-line wind event that continues. Let me see what else we got. New development down here to the south and west for these storms that will continue to develop. And there's one guy way down here still hanging in there, heading up toward Duncan and Comanche. Not severe yet at this time, but it may be so later. Let's see, this one out here to the east, we tracked on that one, for quite a while, and it never did quite produce a tornado, but looks like this last frame right here. We actually had two of them. There was one little mini circulation there. We have a new one here. So Weather Service has just issued a tornado warning now for this guy. And they talked about the southern one here, this location. That's around the county line of, let's see, where are we at? We're in Okmulgee, Okmulgee County. New Yucca, so just north of there. Probability of a tornado is around 48%, and we'll do the path and time of arrival for this one. Let's see here. Okay, so this one's moving east at 36 miles per hour, and Beggs coming up at 12:22 and Haskell at 1 a.m. So that's where this tornado warning is going to be affecting you. So this will be passing to the north of Okmulgee itself. and kind of just in the south end of Beggs. We'll see how much it kind of rotates around this zone. So be in your shelters if you live anywhere around the Beggs area and up along Highway 75 between Winchester and Okmulgee for this particular tornado warning storm that has just been issued just moments ago. Probability of a tornado is now at 70%, so maybe that might be increasing over here the next short term. Back here to this other storm on the east side of Oklahoma City, we still have two areas of strong damaging wind. The south end here around Bethel Acres, and if you look here, estimates of wind is up around 80 to near 90 miles per hour in some of these areas. Right along Highway 102, let's see, bounded by Pecan Grove, I believe it was, or it's Stevens Road, Pecan Grove Road, and then all the way down here to, what else we got? Patterson, is it? East Road 118, Donna Lane. Let's see what else we got. East Road, there's 117, 116, so 115, South 335 to 336. So all of this whole area here is widespread 70 to 80 mile per hour winds. All right, so if we go back up here to McLeod, let's see, now that we get into this little area where I talked about we have our kind of apex here, we're going to get circulations that rotate somewhere in here and kind of back in, and we do have a couple here that they're very, very weak. See these little green areas? So there's a weak one here, and there's a very weak one here. So those might be like little QLCS type spin-ups. That's on Fowler Road. Let's see what else we got. Just east of 333. And then we've got another one over here. This is East Road 1010 and Pinecrest, looks like. Probability of a tornado is at 35%, so pretty low for this area of the storm, indicating not exactly super strong circulations, but needless to say, very, very small. We can also, of course, check. Let me go back to the other radar because I want to look for any debris signatures. Meanwhile, this is just a big area of wind between McLeod and Bethel Acres. So Shawnee, you're going to get this strong damaging wind coming into your city, so it's probably going to knock out some power for you. So right now, this has been mainly a damaging wind, straight line wind storm, causing some power outages along its way. Let's take a look here. Okay, so that was that one. Let's go back over here. Okay, yeah, these little tiny circulations. So there's a weather service try to track one there, and they're transient, so they'll be there one scan and then gone the next. So they're going to be difficult to try to track, which is typical in this type of an environment. Let me see if I see any damage on debris. Let's see. Don't see anything there. Nope. I don't see anything on the debris signature for that. All right, so let me see what else we got. No. Okay, let's go down here, see if maybe these straight line winds have clicked up any debris. Nope, don't see anything there. All right. But this little area here we talked about, these little orange regions, that's up around 76. This guy here south of Dale, about 600 feet off the ground, up around 79. So this is 70 to 80 mile per hour winds in these orange areas. So that's a straight line wind event for that. Do as much damage as a small tornado. All right, so this is our little baby tornado right here. White Rock Road is where that's located. Let's see, north of 1030. So 1030 White Rock Road. And that is about, looks like 8 miles west-northwest of Meeker. That'll be heading eventually towards Sparks. It's about 10 miles to your southwest. So that kind of happens on what we call a bookend vortex. Let's see. Power outage reports. I'm sure we're going to have numerous of those. A lot of tree limbs broken. Look at these reports here. 60 mile per hour winds here. 65 here. Back over here, 69. Here in Tuttle area, multiple large trees snapped off from the straight line winds. We had close to 90 mile per hour winds in that area. At one point, I think I measured 100 miles per hour, just about 1,000 feet off the ground. So this has now left the Oklahoma City metro region. So this little storm with its damaging winds is now moving into Shawnee, right up and down the Highway 18 to Meeker. So that's going to be getting the influence of these strong winds. Continues up around the Dale region, East McLeod on 177, and then the what was left of the little baby tornadic circulation, I call it, is right around the intersection of 177 and 62. So it's about 2 miles northwest of that intersection. And let's see. Again, nothing on the radar as far as debris with that. If we look here, there's a couple other little circulation. This one here around the Johnson area. So northwest of you, about a couple of miles. This is around just a little spin up, a little eddy. Moccasin Trail Road and Bryant Road is the intersection of that little guy there. We have another one here southwest of Meeker, teeny tiny. These are very, very weak, but they are there in the data. Alright, so that's what's happening with this leading edge of storms. Let's go back over here to, let me load up another radar so we can look at the one in Okmulgee. We do have some tornado warnings here in southwest Missouri, by the way. Actually, quite a few. Okay, so let's take a look at this beg storm. We'll see what the latest is with this one. Very broad circulation. There's nothing tight or tightly wound or organized. So that's a good sign. So it was really when they first issued the warning, and for the couple of scans after that, there was something. This is probably the last of it right here. That kind of jotted north of the original track, and then it disappeared. So there's currently not really anything there. What's left over is a weak circulation in this location, which is just southwest of Beggs by about 2 miles. So stay in your shelter just in case. Maybe something might try to redevelop. This is a probability of a tornado at 70% within this. So again, if you live in Okmulgee County, this storm is affecting you currently with this tornado warned storm. However, right now there is no tornado located on radar. So we'll watch to see if anything new tries to redevelop out of that area. Alright, so Tulsa, you just got some heavy storms in your region. Otherwise, there's nothing to worry about for you. The only storm that has the potential for anything tornadic is the one going around the Okmulgee area, and then that will eventually work its way toward Muskogee as well. Give it another hour or so. And we'll see how the atmosphere actually looks in another hour. It may start to stabilize because we're at midnight now, and the atmosphere was supposed to start stabilizing here as we got past midnight. So we'll see how that goes. The tornado warning for this little storm we talked about earlier has either been canceled or expired, one or the other, with no new reissuance. Let's go up the road here to Missouri. We do have several tornado warned storms in this area. Let's just take a quick look. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tornado warnings all at the same time. Let's see here. Let's just go with our velocity data. And we'll see if we can't pick out a few of these. So there's a little one here east of Greenfield, just southwest of Dadeville. Little bitty guy there. So be in your shelters, looks like for that one. That's kind of a new convergence area. Same thing for Everton. Looks like there's going to be a little transition here, maybe some QLCS type tornadoes within these. There's one here for Arcola. Be in your shelters for that one. Let's see. Nothing stands out on these. Yeah, these are all just leading edge little vorticity spin ups, it looks like. let's see. Yeah, I don't see anything strong, that's for sure. So that's the good news here. None of these are strong tornadoes. They're very weak along the leading edge of a line. So those are QLCS ones. They're usually very weak, usually EF0 or EF1 in most cases, and they don't last very long. So that's what's going on right now in western Missouri. Okay, so we'll zip this one back down here to Tulsa. Okay, we'll look at the terminal and off the radar data. Okay, that one still looks okay for the Beggs area as far as the velocity structure is concerned. What's left of that broad circulation is about 1-2 miles south-southwest of Beggs. It'll be coming over the town of Preston here at about 6 minutes. So be in your shelters. Stay in your shelters for Beggs and Preston, because the deviant motion of a tornado will be a little bit to the north and west, kind of a northwest movement, whereas the whole storm is moving kind of east to northeast. So just keep that in mind. Alright, so that takes care of that one. Let's go back in Oklahoma City and see what's happening with these guys. So, good old heavy line of storms through Shawnee, Tecumseh, Pink, back down to Noble, Goldsby, south of Norman. And that's it. So it looks like we have a broken line that is developing. Then we got these guys way down here. Those aren't even severe at this time. And neither are these on the south side of the metro. So let's go back over here where we have the severe thunderstorm warning, and let's take a look at the wind speeds. Let's see here. We still have a little pocket of orange up around 70 plus on the northeast side of Shawnee. Let's see, more wind around the Johnson area. Let's see, a little guy up here northeast, north of Meeker, between there and Sparks. And a couple little patches of moderate wind, 60, around the Chandler area. Okay. Yeah, nothing in the debris signatures for anything, so I think this thing is it's starting to wind it down a little bit, so that's good. So we'll keep with this little patch of strong wind up around the Shawnee region to Johnson. And that seems to be the strongest hanging in there. And then there's this leftover where you have the old QLCS type circulations in this zone in and around the Sparks area. So this little sweet spot here, which is around East Road 1000 and 3450, which is just east of 18 by about a mile. That's halfway between Sparks and Meeker. So, again, nothing, that's tornadic type deal. Just a little pocket of strong straight line wind, which is basically what it's been this whole time. So as those teeny little pockets of wind continue, the straight line wind area here between Johnson and Shawnee continues. It's now about 1, 2, 3 miles outside of town, east of Shawnee, right along East Lake Road, aka 3E, Highway 3E. And it's coming up on Highway 9A. So we'll switch over here and see some of these winds. There's a last little patch of orange. It's up around 85. Otherwise, lots of 70s and 60s in this zone. Let me see the height. So radar beam is up around 1,400 feet. So earlier we were tracking some of these winds. We were down with the radar beam around 500 feet. So it's a more accurate representation of what's actually hitting the ground. In this particular case, you got to subtract at least 10 miles per hour off because we're at 1,500 feet. So if it says peak here about 80, it's really peak about 70, which is still some strong winds. But they seem to be coming down little by little. And again, these little areas up here, these are old little mini circulations that they were issuing those QLCS tornadoes for. Here's one here to the southwest of Davenport. Not strong at all. It's just a little difference in the wind field. So we'll do a update warning on this whole front end of the line. This is where these stronger winds still continue. Sparks already, Prague already. So Payton coming up here in a couple minutes. Boley, Cromwell to 12:39. Then you got Castle, Bearden, Okemah, Walika, Henrietta to about 1 o'clock in the morning. Okmulgee again about 1:09 from this wind maker. Now keep in mind that the winds are slowly decreasing little by little. Alright, so that's a good sign. Alright, let's switch radar so I can look at that other one in Tulsa a little bit better. Let's see, so let's do this. We'll switch over here. Okay, so the latest path for this tornado warned storm: Haskell at 12:59 and Taft just after 1 o'clock in the morning. So whatever leftover circulation that had passed south of Beggs is to your southeast by about 5 miles. There's Okmulgee, so just a line of storms. One little patch of wind here at south of Beggs by about 4 miles. Otherwise, not much to this one. So this one still hasn't regenerated anything tornadic, it looks like, at this point. Still, though, stay in your shelters until this storm passes you by. If you live in Morris or Okmulgee itself, or just south of Beggs on 75. So you're still underneath that region of suspicion. Let's see, what else do I have on here? We can look at this one. And yeah, that's a good time. So this is the terminal Doppler weather radar, which is a little closer to the storm. So I'm looking at about 800 feet off the ground, and there's that little weak area of rotation east of Preston by about 2 miles. That's about it, though. It's nothing to write home about. Okay, we'll see if a new one is trying to develop down here. Otherwise, this is the old one. Right up along 75A right now. And let's see, what intersection is that? North Road 250 and 75A. back into the Twin Lakes radar. So we'll take a look here at the Prague, down south from you to Seminole. There's little pockets of orange right along 99 and 377. So 99A and 377. That's your strongest winds in that area. And they're still up around 77 miles per hour. And then up here, looks like Prague, north and east side of town, also up around 70. And then little teeny tiny little spots of pink. Otherwise, these have all come down. Let me see if there's anything else. Nope. Alright, so basically there's one solid line here. That's going to continue to do this whole march to the east business. And the fact that it has not been tornadic, looks like we just never really tapped into the potential in tonight's environment. So there'll be a lot of analysis, as to what changed things and what was different. But I'm getting pretty close to where I'm going to sign off on this. Again, sorry about the dropped in the live feed. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 UPS boxes. You can see that did me any good. Clearly the one that I'm using on this main computer is either toast or it needs a repair or replacement. I'm not sure. Of course, it's the main machine that it's on. Maybe it's pulling too much power and then it couldn't handle it. I don't know. I got to investigate. So obviously I got to do something with that one. Swap it out or replace it. Can't let that happen again. That's the second time. I thought the first time might be a fluke, but clearly not. And I've been taking power hits quite often there when that storm went through the metro. That's new. I used to not get power hits to the house, so something has changed in the grid that no longer favors my domain. So we're going to have to deal with that. All right. Pretty close to signing off, just doing some last minute checks. Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for me. All those static threats are over, and the one that is south of Tulsa is not producing a tornado, nor has it done so in a long time. It had a brief little spin up about 30 minutes ago, I think it was, and that was about it. So I'm going to sign off. Go ahead and end this coverage here for tonight. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching this over the last 7 hours. So like I said, we had a really good environment we looked at in real time, and it screamed, nasty tornadoes for everything we know in the science, and it did not do that, with the exception of that one. Unfortunately, that one storm that was a direct hit on a couple of towns, that was bad news. Barnsdall and one southwest of there. So that does happen, unfortunately. But the rest of these other storms that went through, the Oklahoma City metro area, they all behaved, which was good. I did not want to see a repeat of the Barnsdall tornado with any of that stuff here going through a populated area. It was bad enough just to get the straight line winds of 70, 80, 90 miles per hour. That does enough damage as a small tornado over a larger area. So instead of a 1 square mile, it was covering 5 linear, 5 or 6 miles. So much broader area of damage in that case. So little pockets of damaging winds will continue. with these storms. They march into eastern Oklahoma for the next couple of hours, but they should be on a declining strength stage, and we have not seen anything significantly tornadic in quite a while. So odds are, now that we're getting close to 1 o'clock in the morning, the parameters are supposed to ramp down anyway, so I'd assume those will continue. Otherwise, use NOAA weather radio. You can use my weather app, AT's Weather to Go. It's free on Apple and Google Play. Just search for AT's Weather. And that'll warn you if you've got a twisting storm alert for a tornado, or of course a tornado warning itself. So that'll get you updated as well. And I think that's about it. So it's not that I'm bailing on you guys because you're in eastern Oklahoma. It's just that the storms have continued to slowly weaken, and the damaging wind threat is going down little by little. And there really hasn't been any tornado threat in quite a while. Even the tornado warnings that were issued here in Oklahoma City, it was mainly for damaging wind. And then the only one storm that could try to produce a tornado around Okmulgee, north of there, it hasn't done so either in a long time. It's just struggling. So that's just the way it looks right now. And I am going to get ready, so I've got to work tomorrow morning. So I'm going to go ahead and call it. But I do appreciate you guys tuning in again for all the social media channels. Make sure you like and tap the bell or hit the subscribe, etc. Fill it all in. Like and share, all that kind of stuff. And we still got the rest of May to go and the first couple weeks of June, so we're doing some more of these live cut-ins, and I'm going to go replace my UPS box so we don't have to deal with that nonsense again. We'll get it going next time. All right, guys, be safe, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.